Good afternoon, about 3:30, and I'm here on the Homosassa River. Got my paddleboard. I shaved so my mask won't leak. That's how you know when I'm going diving, I shave. And we're about to head out. Of course, there was one thing I forgot to bring, my paddle. So fortunately this thing isn't too hard to move. So I will be putting on my swim fins and paddling on out. I've just got a short way to go, and hopefully we'll see some manatees. I'm hoping the manatees will be coming in for the night at this point, and the tide has been going out for a couple hours, so the water will be as clear as it can be. Or I just woke up late.
From this point on, this will be narrated after the fact because my camera can't record voice when it's in the waterproof case, which I forgot several times, so I'm talking to the camera many times. Here, I was just checking out my beautiful new super cup cooler, and now I've paddled out to the headwaters of the Homosassa River. That's where that little tributary I launched from comes together with the main outflow from the big spring, which is behind me right now. And it pumps 50 to 60 million gallons of water a day. That flows 9 miles down the Homosassa River to the Gulf of Mexico. Now we've crossed over to where I was looking at a minute ago and looking back, and now I've gone over and I didn't see any sign of any manatees, so I went over here. I was going to shoot some shorebirds, and then suddenly I saw a manatee. Boom. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? So elegant, so graceful, almost angelic. Can you imagine being the first person to ever see one of these things? Or seeing one for the first time, having never heard of them before? He came up there to get some air. Understand also I can't see what I'm shooting because of the nature of the action cam. So he does go out of frame here. I didn't know where he was at that point, and then I looked down and saw him coming back under my board. Just such a beautiful thing. Note the markings on him carefully. I'm not sure if this is the same as the one I see later on. Looks like it might be. Oh, get out of there. Hey, hey. Come on. Move it. Thank you. Okay. There he is. Just so graceful and beautiful. Now at this point he looked like he was settling in, and so I decided to get in the water, so I had to get ready, get my gear on, which took a couple of minutes, and of course by the time I got in there he was gone. It dawned on me now he probably went right back where he started, behind the ropes, but I swam off in the other direction, looked around, couldn't see him. I was under for about 15 minutes, swam right back to where I'd started from originally, looking around for him, and I just left this in because I figured I'd give you some quiet time under the water. At this point I'm back to the boundary rope that I started at, and I came up to take a look around, see if I could see any sign of the manatee. A nose poking up, some ripples where a nose just had picked up. Looked around, didn't see anything. So I decided to go back under and head for the overlook there, because sometimes they hang out in that area. So I headed over towards that area. Was under for about another 15 minutes. It just dawned on me, the reason this might get so silty here, so foggy as it were, is because this is where the tributary and the main flow of the river come together. And lo and behold, there we go, look at that. That may or may not be the same manatee, but whoever it was clearly did not want to be sociable. But I still got some great video there. Look at that beautiful animal. So graceful. So I figured that was good enough for today. Came up, looked around, didn't see any signs of anything, and decided to pretty much call it a wrap. Or on the other hand, maybe I went back under. Yeah, I decided to check under the overlook again, see if there was another animal there. Didn't see one, but I did see some fish. Saw a school of fish. I thought that might make some interesting video. Okay, so now I'm coming up and calling it a wrap. And while I was out there, shortly after I got out there, I figured out that I could put these swim fins on my hands and paddle quite effectively, to the extent that I'm now working on a design to create arm-mounted paddles. Of course, it is quite a workout for the shoulders, and even more so in the wetsuit, which is somewhat restrictive on shoulder movement. But you can see I'm moving right along there very nicely. The butterfly stroke is better for the camera. It doesn't wobble. Now, I'm not quite this fast. This is running at 2 times normal speed. Here we're heading back to where I launched from. We're going under Fishbowl Drive, which was originally a rail line extension of the Ocala-Dunellen Railroad to come down to Old Homosassa, and they would stop at the big spring and fill up their boiler, and then continue on down to Old Homosassa to pick up loads of lumber, cedar, pine, cypress, and Spanish moss. There was a warehouse down there where people could sell Spanish moss for a penny a pound, or 2 cents a pound if you cleaned it out real good. Now we're up that little side tributary, that secondary feeder of the Homosassa River. And we're looking now up at Pepper Creek. This is where Pepper Creek enters into the Homosassa River. Undredged, untouched. This is natural. There's not much to it. And I've gone as far as I can go because there's an underwater tree that just hit my keel. So I'm backing up, taking a look around here at just the beauty of this day, which unfortunately this camera doesn't have the contrast sensitivity to pick up just how gorgeous this day was. I'm going to go out there with my cell phone sometime and try it. But as I was looking around out there, I noticed the wheel, the water wheel on the house over there was turning. Now that house was originally, or that building was originally the pump house for the water supply for Old Homosassa. Now it did not have a water wheel. Water wheel had nothing to do. It was just a pump house, and it pumped the municipal water supply down to Old Homosassa out of the spring here. There's a secondary spring over here. But whoever bought this, it's been a private home for quite some time now, decided to build a water wheel there, maybe in honor of that. He's got a nice little lighthouse in his yard too, which is fairly pointless other than decorative. So guy's just doing some neat stuff in his yard. Nice house. And not sure if he's watering his lawn with that or what, because it's kicking up some spray on the far side. So it's definitely, it's moving water. It's not just spinning there. You see the lighthouse. And just a nice place to live right there on the river. Now we looked at Pepper Creek earlier. That's got about 5 small springs feeding it. And we come back out here to the main flow. And we're going to look a little bit to the right. And up there is a secondary large spring. Not anywhere near as big as the Homosassa spring, but a big enough spring to feed this creek, or this segment of the Homosassa River. Now heading back to my launch point. I'm now going at 4 times real time. So I don't think I can paddle this fast. Although I did pick it up here. I started using my upper body coming over, reaching forward more. Look how clear that water is. What a beautiful place. Even moving at this speed, you can see the bottom. It's not that deep here, maybe 3 or 4 feet. There's Fishbowl Drive off in the distance there. The bridge we came under. I'm going to go over and bang into these rocks. That's where I land and launch. I didn't actually bang into the rocks. This is a styrofoam board, so my super can cooler worked very, very well. I still had lots of solid ice in there after a couple of hours. Very nice to have a refreshing soda out there with me. And I'm going to have to get another rock in here because that first step is a real beauty. But that was it. That was my adventure on the river.